building what we need to is going to benefit people most, right? We hold on to what we built in the past, which holds us back from building the thing that can really have that next level impact. Welcome to the Matt Phillips Podcast. I am Matt Phillips, your sales leadership coach, mental toughness expert, and founder of Matt Phillips Coaching. We help sales managers and leaders make more money, save time, and become kick-ass leaders of their sales teams. And that's what we're here to talk about on this podcast. We are here to give you the tools and tactics to build a well-oiled sales machine and teach you the mental toughness skills so you can show up confident, focused, emotionally in control, and ready to energize your team. It's time to talk sales leadership and mental toughness. Let's get into today's episode. It truly is all about who you surround yourselves with. That is the 100% truth. And the older I get, the more I see how just powerful this is, right? And how we have to constantly be looking at who we're surrounding ourselves with, whether that's, in a mastermind, with coaching, with people that we hire, people that we partner with, our clients, all these different areas of life. As the old saying goes, a high tide raises all boats. And that's why on today's Matt Phillips Podcast, I want to dive into this. I want to talk about 3 different individuals who have impacted me in big ways and how they've impacted me. And I want you to get thinking about people that you've come across, that you're interacting with, or you've interacted with in the past, who have helped you become the person you are today. And these different areas, I'm going to talk from honestly a personal perspective and a professional perspective. And I could go on and on. There's many people, and I was having trouble just as I prepared for today, narrowing it down just to 3 people. So I may give you a bonus 4th. I don't know. We'll see how today goes. But there's so many different individuals that I've pulled from, that I've learned from, the good and bad, that I now just leverage in my life and leverage in my business. And so that's what I want to share with you today. And maybe for you, you're at a point where you've just got this great network of people that you've surrounded yourself with, and you're feeling really good. Maybe you're at the space right now where there's a little upgrade, and maybe it's just one specific area of business or life or your career where you need to upgrade a little bit. And I want you to get thinking about that a little bit. It's I think sometimes overwhelming to seek out new individuals and start that conversation and begin to build that relationship. And I want to let you know that I want to encourage you to go take that first step, right? Have that first conversation with kind of no expectation, no pressure, but just get to know that next person. That's what I've done over and over again in my personal life and my career. That's led to great friendships, led to great coaching, led to great mentorship, and everything in between. So that's what we're going to talk about today, these 3 individuals. So let's get right into it. And the first person that I want to talk about, and I have to do this, is my mother. I'm so fortunate. I had 2 great parents. My father passed away, 9.5 years ago. It's crazy. It's crazy to say that. Just a little under 9.5 years ago, after a 2-year battle with cancer. And so I was blessed with 2 great parents. And my mom in particular really stuck out to me because she helped me in so many different ways. And I could go on and on for hours and hours, and I'll try to keep it succinct today. But there's a couple stories that always stick out about my mom. One, when we were very young, she was actually our teacher. So my mom taught me twice. So once in 4th grade and once in 8th grade. And that may be weird for some of you, thinking like, one of my parents like teaching me, like what a disaster that would be. But I liked it. I didn't mind it too much. And people were like, oh, that's weird. Little kids being like, oh, your mom's your teacher. I'm like, yeah, she's my teacher. But I remember when she would drive us to school, in grade school especially, and this is when she was teaching us or when she was not, both my sister and I, before we got out of the car, like I always describe my mom, she was like the, Tony Robbins, but she didn't know she was Tony Robbins, that motivational, inspirational, like get the best out of you type person, the female version of Tony Robbins. And she would make us, before we got out of the car every day before school, say this phrase: I like myself, I'm happy, I'm going to have a good day. I like myself, I'm happy, I'm going to have a good day. And, as little kids, it's super annoying because you're just like, oh, mom, like, come on, can we just get out of the car? And she's like, nope, say the phrase, say the phrase. And what I didn't realize at the time is she was setting the tone for the entire day, right? I like myself. Look at that. Like, have confidence in yourself. Be proud of the person that is getting out of the car before you walk into that school. Because school is tough anyway. You're dealing with kids and hormones and all that sort of stuff. But just that I like myself, choosing to be happy before we walk out of the car. And then choosing that I'm going to intentionally have a good day. And what I didn't realize at the time was, like, even when they say I'm going to have a good day, when I'm going to be happy, we're triggering a part of the brain called the RAS, the reticular activating system. I did a whole podcast episode on it. But it's the filter between the subconscious and conscious mind. So basically what you're doing very simply is you're triggering your brain to look for those happy moments, to look for those areas where you're doing really good, to look for the good things that are happening throughout your day instead of the opposite, which frankly is just not very fun. So my mom, the female Tony Robbins, she didn't realize it at the time. She could have started a whole business. She could have built an empire. But it was amazingly impactful when I look back at that. And so with that, setting the tone, I mean, she constantly pushed us to be our best, right? So she wanted us to have good grades. She wanted us to position ourselves to be successful. She wanted us to treat people with respect. We were taught from an early age that if we, had a parent or something like that, we would always address them Mr. or Mrs. And I still do this to this day. I still have people that, I grew up with. I actually, about 7, 8 years ago, we bought the house I grew up in. If you can believe that. This is the house I grew up in, where I'm actually recording this right now. And so I still have original neighbors, if you can believe that are in a couple houses across the street and next to us. I still call them Mr. and Mrs. Still to this day. And they'll try to correct me and be like, just call me by my first name. I'm like, nope, sorry, Mr. or Mrs. Like, I won't do it. I don't know. It's just something that I was taught, just to have that respect for your elders and just be appreciative and help and do all these things. Again, when I look at, both my parents, they positioned us just to, think big and do good things. And they were there to support us like that entire way. But I love that phrase. I wanted to share that one phrase with you. I like myself. I'm happy. I'm going to have a good day. And maybe something that you can start your day off with, or maybe right after lunch before you hit the afternoon, or before you go do that workout, or before you go to bed to get in dreamland with just some really powerful thoughts in your mind. So that's one person. Again, I could go on and on. I'm trying to keep these to a couple minutes each, to not have you here for hours and hours with me today. The second person that I want to talk about is my wife. I think she's in the other room listening to this right now. But my wife, Shannon, you all probably know by now, she is integral in the business. She is basically the COO, so does all the back end stuff. So if you're getting some, random emails and stuff like that from the team, it's probably Shannon doing that. And she and I are scheming behind the scenes together. But she is my sounding board. She is just extremely knowledgeable in the business and super passionate about it. And one thing that sticks out amongst many things about her is she has this philosophy that I love and we've adopted as a family. And she's way more ahead than me on this, to be completely honest. But she has this philosophy that she doesn't want to do the same things that everyone else does. She wants to be different. She wants to be unique. She wants to approach life with just a different way of approaching, like nutritionally taking care of herself, and how we talk to ourselves and how we show up as a family and the things that we do, like to be different, to carve our own path and not just kind of follow the flock. And I've always appreciated that about her, because it comes out in simple ways, right? As, going through, our oldest daughter, figuring out where she's going to go to college. It's like, how do we find the right college, the perfect college, where she's going to thrive and where she can have this freedom that she wants and challenge the way that things are done. And my wife does this in nutritionally, like you wouldn't believe the things that we have in our house to take care of ourselves, because it's about that longevity. It's thinking long-term of how do we position ourselves now to be successful long-term. And so the blood draws we've done, and, the infrared sauna and all this red light therapy and all these things that we've integrated into our life, It's because Shannon thinks differently, wants to be different, wants to be the one out there in front leading. And I've always loved that about her. I mean, I look back at her journey. She was a school teacher when we met. Thank you to all your teachers out there. That is special. I couldn't do that. I could not do that. I think I last maybe a minute and a half in the classroom and then have to go send everyone down to the principal because I needed a break. But she started out as a school teacher. And then after having a health issue with her thyroid and health scare, to be honest, she went on this path of nutrition. And she actually went back to school, got her holistic nutrition certification, started her own business to help people around this health and nutrition and the mindset piece. And she's dared to take these chances because she knew that she didn't have to settle. She didn't have to follow this path that she was on, that she could, understand like there's a passion there and I want to go after it because I have this philosophy of being different than everyone else and kind of using my gifts and talents to the fullest. And so she pushes me every day to be better and to follow that. And sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. But I'm so appreciative to be around her because she sets the example for myself and for my kids and for her clients and for people in our business of what it's like to do that, to separate yourself, to not settle for what you don't have to settle. I wanted to take a quick break from the podcast to invite you to something very special that we're up to at Matt Phillips Coaching. It's what we call the High Performance Leadership Program. Now, we know that leading people can be challenging. It also can be extremely rewarding. And one thing that I found as you progress in leadership and want to take that next level, get that promotion, continue to move up the ladder, is you have to continually invest in yourself. And you have to set yourselves apart from other people. And you have to continue to not only grow as a leader, but you have to grow your mental toughness, your mindset, because that is the one true differentiator. That's exactly why we built the High Performance Leadership Program, to come alongside you on a monthly basis, to give you the tools, training, and resources, and coaching with me to help you elevate your performance. So I invite you to head over to mattphillipscoaching.com/membership and join us today in the High Performance Leadership Program. Let's make your dreams and your career and your business a reality. Again, I could go on and on about my mom, about Shannon, about the way they've impacted me. But I just love that philosophy. I wanted to share that with you of, just choosing to be different, choosing to go after what you want, choosing to ask questions and kind of challenge the way things are done and formulate like your own opinion on what you believe and what you want, and then going after it, because she's done that. It's so amazing to me that I see. The other thing I will say about my wife, and this is why I love having her in the business, is there's some people in your life that you need to help you refocus. And one thing that's beautiful about having a spouse or family member in your business, and I tell people this all the time about Shannon, like, she doesn't have time for BS. She doesn't put up with it. She is like, we are here to make a difference. We're here to, set ourselves apart as a family, as a business, like cut through the BS. And so I get lost in my little, I don't know if you have this too, where the squirrel mentality or, the shiny object syndrome, where the squirrel runs by and you're like, ooh, there goes the squirrel, or this, next shiny object, gets in front of you and you're like, ooh, and you completely lose focus of what you're doing. And you're like, ooh, I'm going to focus on that. She helps keep me so focused, and she will tell me bluntly, I guess, but she'll be like, you're getting distracted. What's the one thing we need to focus on right now? And so we have that balance. And sometimes we bicker a little bit and get on each other, but she keeps me hyper-focused on the important things because we want to be different. We want to do these amazing things. So awesome. So that's my wife. The other individual that I want to mention and call out today is James Wedmore. James, maybe you've heard of him. He is an amazing individual. Go check out his podcast. We'll put a link down below as well. But he helps business owners like grow their businesses, especially from an online perspective. And I joined his mastermind a year ago. So this is year number 2 of being in his mastermind. And it's really cool. We go away 3 times a year as a group. There's 30 business owners, around 30 business owners in it. And we talk about how do we scale ourselves, our business, our teams, so that we can have a substantial impact, right? We are kind of mission driven entrepreneurs. And so I'm using this for not only the corporate side of my business, but also the student athlete leadership program that I have, and just having so much fun. There's a couple of things that I'm so appreciative of James for and joining this mastermind. And the biggest thing is he has challenged my perspective on things and helped me to get out of my very narrowed way of thinking. And there's one story that I find really interesting because it, again, shifted the way I was thinking about this program. But I was building this program for the corporate side and trying to think of like kind of a new niche and going after specific people and all these things. And I was on a phone call with James and I was saying, well, I have this program that exists right now. And so I'm trying to, take this and, how do I leverage that to build this next thing? And we're talking and I hear James go, oh, I see what you're doing. He goes, okay. He says, I need you to, for a moment, forget about what you've built. Forget about the videos and the programs, and even forget about the content for the moment. All the handouts you built. I need you to just for a moment, forget about that. And then I'm going to ask you a question for this specific niche, forgetting all that stuff, that doesn't matter right now, what would you need to build that would absolutely help them and show them results? What would they need? And he said, sometimes we get stuck on what we have and it holds us back from building what we need to is going to benefit people most, right? We hold on to what we built in the past, which holds us back from building the thing that can really have that next level impact. And I remember getting off that call and I told Shannon, I'm like, man, my mind was just blown. And maybe that sounds like a really simple thing, but what I was trying to do is hold on to all this time that I spent in building this other program and saying, well, I've got to leverage it. I've got to use it. And James is saying, maybe, yet let's start fresh. Let's think fresh with this of what would you need to build right now. Now, what we found out was I was able to absolutely leverage some of what I'd already built, the videos and the handouts and all this sort of stuff. So it wasn't for naught, but I was trying to fit that. I always screw up this saying, the square peg in the round hole or the round peg in the square hole. I don't know. I screw up this thing. But I was trying to take something that existed and fit it into something new instead of saying what's new, and then I'll leverage what I have. And it's just maybe a simple example of how my perspective is shifted. I was with James and the mastermind group last week in California. And one thing that I took away from a perspective thing, and it's just these important reminders. But James was sharing about this concept, and it was a very brief moment. We didn't really spend too much time talking about it as a group, but he made this comment where sometimes we play not to lose, and sometimes we play to win. And when he said that, there were even a couple parts of my business and life where I looked, I'm like, wow, I know specifically in these couple areas, I'm playing not to lose right now. And when we play not to lose, right, we tend to hold back a little bit and we're trying to hold tight onto something, whether it's money or a role that we have or something like that. And I was holding tight instead of playing to win, which is not that we're, not paying attention or we're being flippant with our decisions. No, it's not all at all, but it's like we're loose, we're creative, we're energized, and we can scale and grow the thing that we want, whether that's a relationship or a business or something in your career or a process or a sale. It doesn't matter. And even that one little perspective shift that James gave me was so impactful. It's something I shared with one of the hockey teams that I work with as well. That's the power of surrounding yourself with great people. So even just in these simple examples that I'm sharing with you, like my mom, Shannon, James, and each of those individuals, I could go on and on about just the way they've, again, shifted the way I think, and challenged me to be better, to be different, to be unique, to not settle and go for that high performance. And I know you've got these people in your life as well that you've had come across, maybe first was for a brief moment. And I want you to get in your head, who are those people? Maybe who's just one person. And what did you learn from that person? And how do they impact you? And sometimes it's just cool to think back about some of this stuff. Recording this podcast right now was actually quite fun because it reminded me to go back and think about some of the things that I've learned. And even as I'm talking to you now, it's reminders of some things that I need to continue doing to make sure I'm being my best as well. But I want you to get that one person and just remember a story about them and tell a story about you. And maybe you have a story like my mom, like, I don't know, she wouldn't let you get out of the car unless you said this or did this, and kind of cool stuff there. But leverage that. And then the second thing I want you to do out of today is maybe there's an area where, I don't know, you need to help the tide rise a little bit, right? You need to maybe join something or get coaching or go have that first conversation and meet someone. I want you to think about like what that next step is for you and start formulating a little plan, right? Don't overthink it, but what's a little plan that you can put in place to make that happen? Such a huge place. And for those of you interested, I always talk about some things that we're up to and messing around with here at Matt Phillips Coaching. And if you're interested, head over to mattphillipscoaching.com/membership. And we have a monthly membership, which is all about leadership and mental toughness growth, right? We have monthly topics we release, all these different bonuses. We have group coaching calls so you can talk to me and talk to someone else other than your boss, just to help you up level as well. So if that's of interest to you, head over, go check it out, join us. We'd love to have you part of it. But again, it's just, when I look at this high performance leadership program, this membership, when I look at my mom, Shannon, James, all these other individuals I could have talked about, because I'm staring at my sheet right now and I've got so many other names on here that I did not talk about. So maybe I'll do a next episode another episode with the three others, and then the three others after that. And I can just go on and on about the people who've impacted me in a massive way. But continue to surround yourselves with the right people. All right. With that, thank you so much for being on the Matt Phillips Podcast, for listening today, for being part of this. Share it with your friends. Give us a 5-star review, a little shout out if you would. We always appreciate that. And have just a rockin' rest of your day. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks so much. Thank you for joining us today on the Matt Phillips Podcast. If you are like us, we know that you are here to do great things, to become the sales leader that makes things happen and drives big time sales results. We know you have that big vision, and we are here to help get you where you want to go. We're here to help you develop that unstoppable, rock solid leadership skill set and help you train to master the one true differentiator: mental toughness. We would love to be part of your journey. So if you are ready, head over to mattphillipscoaching.com and check out the ways that we can help. As always, please share this episode and make sure you subscribe by clicking the button below. Thank you again. And now, go crush the day.